to the City of Newport News for having us on this evening. I am Tanya Alston, and I'm with Our Healthy Kitchen. Some of you that may be participating tonight may already know us, myself and Chef Victoria, as we've been given an opportunity to train now over 300 city government officials in healthy plant-based eating. And as we've noted, the City of Newport News is now preparing you all for marathon. And you are now in Marathon Monday. So we want to give you an opportunity to interact on tonight. One of the things that I would like to ask you to do to make sure you all can hear me, to make sure the video is working. I've turned off the music so we can have some clarity. I would like for you to raise your hand and use the reaction button on tonight to let me know if you've already participated in a Marathon Monday. Raise your hand, just so we'll know if you've already participated in a Marathon Monday. And if you haven't participated in a Marathon Monday, hopefully you will. Vernice, I see your hand. So I want to ask some others. You can either give me a thumbs up or you can raise your hand. Do not lower your hands. I want to see how many hands are actually participating in this amazing opportunity that the City of Newport News is giving you. Who tonight is actually planning to participate in a marathon? There's multiple ways to do so. You can run, you can walk, you can stretch, and you can also eat healthy. So I think everyone can eat healthy. So if you plan to participate in any of those ways, please raise your hand as well. I see the hands going up. Leon, I see Diane. I see the hands going up. Crystal, thank you all. We're so excited. So let me take this time to give you a brief introduction. Again, for those of you that may not know, Chef Victoria and we are with Our Healthy Kitchen. It is our mission to change one life at a time through plant-based eating, letting everyone know that although you're not eating meat, you can still enjoy flavorful foods that burst in your mouth with flavor, different types of textures. And Chef Victoria is laughing, but I am a foodie and I also used to be a carnivore. So converting me to plant-based eating was not an easy feat, but they were able to do so. So once again, tonight we have Chef Victoria. If you haven't met her before, she has trained under master chefs in London, England. She's also certified in nutrition, cancer, diabetes prevention, and she hates when I gloat about her. And she has been published in several different magazines, Eating Well, Southern Living, Food and Wine. Some are not plant-based, but you still have to give her flowers. Currently, she is working in research and development where she is preparing healthy recipes for a company that has well known. They send out thousands of recipes and food deliveries every week called Sakara Life. And the last thing I'll tell you before I turn it over and we give you this dynamic presentation is Chef Victoria was recently invited and requested by New York City to help introduce a plant-based recipe to the school district for their food menu. She then went in and she trained the cafeteria workers to prepare those healthy plant-based options for the New York City school system. How awesome is that? That they're giving not only adults like in Newport News, but the students an opportunity to introduce them to plant-based eating. So the chef has prepared an amazing presentation on tonight. I have the liberty to actually share the presentation with you while the chef presents. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm just going to test the chat to make sure it is working. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to listen to a little jazz before we got started, so we can transition from our workday to an evening of cooking with Chef Victoria. And for those of you that may have just joined, the class tonight is called How to Eat When Preparing for a Marathon. How to eat when preparing for a marathon. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started here. So Chef Victoria, if you can come off mute, I will be going on mute and I will be turning it over to you on tonight.
Thank you so much, Miss Alston. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I'm only a little embarrassed, but nice to meet you all. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm very excited to talk to you about plant-based nutrition for marathon runners. While I am giving my presentation, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And then before we prepare our recipe this evening, I will try to answer as many questions as I can. So just drop them in the chat. And if you have taken one of my classes before, please put that in the chat so I can say hi to you. But if not, hopefully you will be able to one day. We would love to have you. But let's go ahead and get started. So I have the presentation here, so I'll be going back and forth. But as I said, plant-based nutrition for marathon runners. We can go to the next slide, Miss Alston. Thank you. So how to maintain a healthy diet leading up to a marathon. So we wanted to do this class well in advance of the marathon so that you could start to prepare your body for training for the marathon. I know that when you're going to run a marathon, you spend a lot of time practicing, running, training. So we wanted to make sure you got your nutrition prepared as well. So while you're training and when you go into race day, you want to make sure that you're consuming an adequate amount of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. And when I say healthy fats, those are unsaturated fats, which are actually good for us. Saturated fat is what we want to avoid, but I will dig a little deeper into that as we go on. Also, while you are training, you may need to increase your calorie intake. So you may need to increase the amount of food that you are consuming in order to have the strength and the energy to run for long periods of time. The macronutrients that our bodies use for energy for our body are carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. But our body actually prefers carbs and fat for energy. And I know that carbs and fat have a bad reputation, but they are actually very good for us. It's what our body feeds off of to keep us moving and going. We're just going to focus on complex carbs and unsaturated fat, not refined carbs and saturated fat. And so highly active individuals or athletes typically have a higher need for carbs and fat compared to less active people. So you're going to want to adjust based on how much you're training, how long the marathon is that you're actually running. Let's go to the next slide, please. So to help you adjust your eating and your calorie intake, long distance runners should consume an average of 19 to 21 calories per pound of body weight for every 1 to 1.5 hour of running or strenuous training for the marathon. This is a good page to take notes on or take a screenshot of the presentation. We'll also share it with you afterwards, so you'll have that as well. And then if your training schedule calls for 1.5 to 2 hours of running, you're going to want to increase your calories even more, about 22 to 24 calories per pound of your body weight may need to be consumed. And you'll want to keep increasing that as you increase how much you're training, how long you're running. And the reason that we're increasing our calorie intake is because a 1 hour run burns, an average of 1,000 calories. So you need to be replenishing the fuel that your body is burning up while it's running. Next slide. Okay, so what should you eat? What are the healthy things that I'm talking about that you should eat? So we're going to go through some healthy complex carbs, and just as a guideline, when you're training for your marathon, you want to consume about 2.5 to 4 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. And then the healthy complex carbs that I am talking about is going to be your oatmeal, brown rice, whole wheat pastas, whole wheat breads, potatoes, sweet potatoes, quinoa, lentils. And the refined carbs that you want to avoid will be things like white bread, white rice, white pastas. So you can still enjoy your pasta, your bread, your rice. You just want to go to the whole grain variety that is going to give your body energy and be healthy for you. Next slide. So fat is very important. No one ever wants to eat fat, but we're going to eat happy fat and not sad fat, which is our saturated fat. And you want 30% of the calories that you're consuming while you're training for your marathon to come from healthy fats. So what that looks like, for example, someone who's eating a diet of about 2,200 calories a day would consume about 73 grams of healthy unsaturated fat. And that can include nuts like almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts, pecans, cashews, any nut you prefer, seeds like chia seeds, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, what are some other seeds? All the seeds, avocados, which are an excellent source of our healthy unsaturated fat, nut butters like almond butter or peanut butter or cashew butter, olive oil, olives themselves, and coconut oil as well. Next slide. So then protein. I know protein is usually everyone's go-to for, or what everyone thinks is what's going to fuel your body and help you run and train really hard. Protein is important, and we want to make sure we are eating protein while we're training, but our carbs and our fat are more important than our protein. But you still want to make sure you're eating about 0.5 to 0.9 grams of protein per pound of your body weight. And I'm explaining it in that way so that everyone can calculate it based on their personal body, their personal goals, how hard you're going to train, and what marathon you're running for. So some examples of healthy plant-based proteins are tofu, tempeh, beans, quinoa, again, nuts and seeds, seitan as well. As we're going, don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat, and I will answer them in a bit. And we can go to the next slide. Okay, so now, now that you know the good things that you can eat, you can load up on those things, but there are a few foods that you're going to want to avoid while you are training for your marathon, especially getting closer to the marathon. And you don't want to eat these right after the marathon either. You want to ease them back in later, or don't ease them back in. So fried foods, we want to avoid fried foods because they take longer to digest, which makes your body move slower. Digestion takes a lot of energy from your body. So when your body has to work extra hard to digest bad foods or unhealthy foods, it makes you feel tired. If you ever maybe eat a burger, fries, a milkshake, and then afterwards you feel like you're tired and you don't know why, it's because your body is working overtime to digest that food because they are not easily digested. And then sugary drinks and candy, they cause dehydration, which we do not want while we're running, as well as sugar cravings. Alcohol can cause decreased performance and dehydration as well. Dairy may cause bloating, gas, stomach cramps, and also slow digestion. So you want to avoid that while you're training as well. Processed meats also hard on the digestive system and make the body more sluggish. And then spicy foods, although great for you and very tasty, they can cause heartburn and indigestion while you're training and running. So you want to avoid those as well. Next slide. Perfect timing as I'm drinking my water. So hydration. Hydration is so important. Just in general, in life in general. And then if you are working out, training, especially running for long periods of time, you want to make sure that you are drinking water before, during, and after your run, as well as all day long. So drinking before, during, and after is just as important as all the water that you drink throughout your day. So you want to aim for 16 ounces or 2 cups of water at about 2 hours before your run. And you can pair this with a light snack or meal if you'd like. And then about 15 minutes before your run, you want to drink another 6 to 8 ounces of water. And then while you're running, this is very important, you have to stay hydrated while you're running. So during a run that lasts longer than 1 hour, you want to drink water at regular intervals. And this will vary depending on how much you sweat. So if you are not familiar with a sweat rate, go on Google, type in sweat rate calculator. And it will, tons of websites will come up to help you calculate your sweat rate, and that will help you know exactly how much water your body needs. But you can also kind of judge your body naturally by when you feel thirst, hunger, dehydration, your body is probably asking for water at that point. And those who sweat more may need about 16 ounces of water for every 15 minutes while you're running. You'll also want to consume some of those carbs and also some electrolytes while you're drinking water during your run. So if you're having water every 15 minutes, you might want to have a small bite of banana while you're running, or a sports gel or some dried fruit to just help you keep going, to help sustain your body. And then after your run, also very important to continue to hydrate, and you want to aim for at least 16 ounces of water with food, or if you know your sweat rate, you can calculate how much water you should drink per pound lost. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just an example, a very broad example of 2 options for a meal plan that you can incorporate into your lives while you're training. These are like a base level that you can use to customize, make it your own, make it unique. And you can eat these plans every day. So one day, maybe you eat oatmeal with fruit and nuts for breakfast. And then for lunch, maybe you eat brown rice or whole grain pasta with your choice of a protein, your choice of vegetables, and your choice of a sauce. And then maybe for dinner, you eat sweet potato, quinoa, and again, your choice of protein and vegetables. You can also have snacks throughout the day. Maybe you have fruit with nut butter, whole grain popcorn, or whole grain toast. And then another example, maybe Tuesday now, for breakfast, you have scrambled tofu with whole grain bread, maybe some avocado and tomato to go along with it. Then maybe for lunch, you're having lentil pasta, pasta sauce, and vegetables again. And that lentil pasta would serve as your protein. And then for dinner, you could have brown rice, chili, more avocado to get that healthy unsaturated fat, and add broccoli or any vegetable you'd like. So those are just examples of what a typical day of eating for while you're preparing for a marathon could look like. Next slide. Okay, so very important now. We're getting to race day. So on your actual race day, you want to make sure you are keeping a consistent diet with what you have been eating leading up to race day. So what you have been eating the month before the race, you want to keep it consistent on this day because you don't want to cause any stomach issues, any digestion issues. You want your body to be used to eating the things that you've been eating while you've been training. So the night before the race, you want to make sure you eat a normal sized dinner. Avoid eating a huge dinner thinking that you're fueling up for the next day. You just want to eat your normal sized dinner, but you want to base it around those carb-rich ingredients like the whole grain, the whole wheat pasta, the brown rice, sweet potatoes, quinoa, everything on the list that we spoke about. And then the morning before the race, you want to focus on eating protein, carbs, and natural sugar about 2 to 4 hours before the race. And we will prepare a breakfast that you can eat the morning before the race together in just a little bit. So then during your race, you want to drink lots of water, and you can incorporate, I know a lot of people do the sports energy gels, and I recommend doing an all-natural chia seed-based energy gel. If you Google chia seed energy gel, you'll see plenty of options. And I recommend those just because they don't have any weird chemical ingredients and they're naturally sweetened. You also might want to consume small bites of banana or naturally sweetened energy bars, while you are running and drinking your water. And then after your run, you want to make sure you refuel your body within 30 minutes of your run. And you're going to want protein, carbs, salt, and magnesium. And that is to support your muscles so they don't just give out, so you can walk after your run. And you're eating salt because as you sweat, you're losing a lot of sodium. So we're going to replenish that. So good options would be any whole grains or any beans. They will contain everything that you need. So I've done a lot of talking. I know that's a lot of information. Before we get into our recipe, does anyone have any questions? How are we doing? Let me know in the chat. How are we? Are we excited for our run? Are we excited to eat healthy to prepare for the marathon? Let me know in the chat. Okay, at least one of us are excited. I love that. Yes, sweat rate. It's so interesting. So many calculators online will tell you your sweat rate, but also a super easy way to calculate your sweat rate is to weigh yourself right before you go for a long run. and then go for your long run, sweat, 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 come back in the house and weigh yourself again and see the difference in your weight, because you've probably sweat out maybe a pound, maybe 2 pounds, and that's how you can kind of calculate your sweat rate. All right, I love that you all are excited. I'm so excited for you all for your marathon. Hopefully it will be like broadcast somewhere so I can tune in and cheer for you all. But if there's no questions, we can dive right into the recipe. You can go to the recipe slide, Ms. Alston. So the recipe we are going to prepare is for what you can eat the morning of your race, before you go out on your race. You can also, and I encourage you to eat this throughout your training or throughout the next month, so that your body is used to eating it already. And this is a protein overnight oats, which is just basically cold oatmeal that you prepare the night before. You let it sit overnight so that it absorbs and is ready to eat in the morning. And then you can enjoy it cold, straight out of the fridge. So you can just grab this, eat this, and get ready for your run very easily. And a little fun fact, this is what several Olympian runners eat before they run in the Olympics. So I thought, what better breakfast to prepare than what people eat in the Olympics? But I want you all to be your best in your best shape. So the recipe just includes a plant-based milk. You can substitute it for any plant-based milk that you like. Today I'm using almond milk. We are using rolled oats, which is going to give you all those healthy carbs, complex carbs that we've been talking about. And I see your question. You can warm it up, but I promise you it's tasty. Just taste it before you warm it up, and then warm it up. You absolutely can. You can pop it in the microwave if you want. You can also just heat it on top of your stove. And then the recipe has maple syrup, which is going to give us our natural sugar that we need. We have our chia seeds, which is giving us healthy, unsaturated fats. Then we have our, I'm going to use a powdered peanut butter tonight, which is super high protein and low calorie. So it's not, you're not having to consume a whole bunch of calories just from peanut butter to get a huge punch of protein. There's about 32 grams of protein just in 2 tablespoons of this powdered peanut butter, and it's very tasty as well. You can also substitute that for regular peanut butter. You could put almond butter, cashew butter, tahini, anything you like. We're going to put a little sea salt for the flavor, but also for the sodium to help you run. And then, of course, some fruits. Our banana and our berries are going to give us more carbs and also natural sugar. So I'm going to get ready to prepare this. It's very, very simple, but I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing. You can see my other camera here. So I just have 1 cup of my rolled oats. And then in the presentation, you'll also see the nutrition facts as well. And you can adjust this based on what serving size you eat for yourself. So we have 1 cup of our rolled oats. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of almond milk. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of the powdered peanut butter, making a mess. I'm going to add a 4th teaspoon of sea salt and 2 tablespoons of our maple syrup. This is literally the easiest thing to make. You can make it right before bed, pop it in the fridge. And now I'm just stirring everything together. And I'm preparing it right in the mason jar that I'm going to eat it out of to make it even more simple. And if you did want to heat it, you can just pour it right on out into a pot, or you can pop your whole mason jar into the microwave as well. So I'm just stirring it together and making sure everything gets nice and incorporated. And I'm going to show you what it will look like in the morning. I have one already ready, just like on TV cooking shows. So this is what it will look like when you put it in your fridge at night. It's just loose oats mixed with your almond milk. And then when you wake up in the morning, it'll be nice and thick, just like cooked oatmeal. And then the last thing I'm going to do is pop some fruit. So I have my banana here. And we'll do about half of the banana, up to you. I like to put my fruit in at night just to make the morning easier, but you can also wait until morning to put your fruit. I'm just taking my banana slices, loading these in. And then I'm going to top with blueberries. And in the morning, I'll just mix everything together and eat it just like that. And that is literally the breakfast of Olympic champions. Super simple, really healthy and good for you. Hits all of your nutritional needs for your marathon, and takes about 5 minutes to prepare. It's also inexpensive to buy all of these ingredients in a large quantity and then make several batches of these. And if you like to meal prep in advance, when I meal prep this, I usually can do it 3 days in advance. So every 3 days you want to make more. So that is my presentation for tonight. Please put any questions you have in the chat. Anything about plant-based nutrition and preparing for your marathon, or other things that you can eat, let me know in the chat your questions. You all are very quiet.
It seems like you have a really quiet group. Here's one question for you.
Great question. Thank you. So if you make this and bring it to work with you, I would say try to keep it cool, but it should be fine for about 2 hours at room temperature, and then a little bit longer if you keep it in an insulated bag, or if you put like a ice pack or something in there. Good question, Stacy. Just to clarify, in the chat, can you not have whole grains, or can you not have whole wheat? Usually people can't have whole wheat. So just clarify that for me in the chat, and then I will answer your question. Wheat, dairy, and can have some nuts, no gluten. Okay, so if you can't have wheat, you can still have whole grains. So whole wheat and whole grains are totally separate. For example, you can eat oatmeal that is gluten-free and has absolutely no wheat contamination, and then you're able to eat oatmeal. If you do, however, want a substitute for the oatmeal, you can turn this into a chia pudding and increase the amount of chia seeds that you're putting, take the oatmeal out, and it would be the same process, replace oatmeal with chia seeds, and you would let it set overnight, just like we're doing the overnight oats. But then I would want to add a lot more carbs in. So I would add like some coconut yogurt and more fruits. And then if you cannot have nuts, or if you can't have peanut butter or any nuts, I would go with a sunflower seed butter. So no nut involved at all. It's made strictly from seeds and it's very tasty, an excellent substitute for nut butter. Hopefully that answered your question. Let me know. And then this is another good question. Thank you for that. I am a olive oil lover. So I always prepare most of my meals using olive oil. And when I am baking or making sweet things, I'll use coconut oil. That's a great question. Oh, can't do yogurt either. Okay. So no. Well, when you say you can't do yogurt, I think you mean you cannot eat dairy yogurt. And when I say coconut yogurt, it is completely dairy-free. So it's only made from coconut milk. No dairy is involved at all. There are also yogurts made from oat milk that you can make sure is gluten-free, so there's no wheat involved. And I'm not sure exactly which nuts you can eat, but there are yogurts that are made from various nuts if you can eat any of them. So not dairy yogurt. We want to avoid dairy when we are training for our marathon because of the stomach issues it may cause, but you can eat plant-based vegan yogurts that do not have any dairy in them. Great questions. Thank you both. What other questions do we have? Or do you have your meal plans ready for your training, for your marathon? Are you all set and ready to go? Yes, great question, Stacey. So I will try to put the names of these yogurts in the chat, the plant-based yogurts, but I'll also say them. So my favorite is a brand called Kalina. It is a coconut milk-based yogurt. I also like Forager brand. I also like Kite Hill makes one. There's so many. If you go to the yogurt section of your grocery store, there will be a section with all plant-based yogurts, and you'll see that they say dairy-free, so you can spot them. What other yogurts do I like? There's a new one. I'm going to give you these three for now. When you're buying plant-based yogurt, you want to make sure that you're buying the unsweetened kind. You don't want to buy yogurt that has a ton of cane sugar in it. Buy the unsweetened version and then sweeten it yourself using a maple syrup or a honey or an agave. That way you're getting a natural sweetener and not cane sugar, which will cause sugar cravings for you later. Yes, thank you, Frank, for that comment. So I wanted to load you up with carbs so you can fuel that run for sure. And thank you, Miss Austin, for popping that in the chat. That is a great question, Eva, about eating oranges and clementines during the run. I haven't done any research about that. I would assume it's okay, but let me confirm. I don't want to lead you astray. I don't see why it would be an issue, but let's confirm. Oh, yeah. Everything I see says eating oranges are a great option while you're running. So thank you for sharing that. It helps to replenish the sugar level in your blood with a natural sugar that will help you have energy to keep running. So excellent choice for a snack while you're running. Let's see. Oh, amazing. So just in case you're not reading the chat, I'll just share this information with you all. So at the marathon, there will be water stations located approximately every 2 miles, which is perfect for you to plan your drinking in intervals, water drinking during intervals, and also eating your little snack. Maybe it's your orange or your banana or your energy bar. And then Huma, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Huma or Huma Jail will be providing a station, will be provided, sorry, at station number 4. Make sure you guys are taking notes on this. And Gatorade will also be provided at every other water station, beginning at station 2. So Gatorade is a good way to get those electrolytes in that we talked about as well. Thank you, Ms. Alston, for the great clementine and orange facts. Make sure you all check out the chat for that. What other questions do we have? Do you all have running buddies? Are you running the marathon alone, or will you be running with someone else? Let me know that in the chat as well. Okay, I see some of us still need to make our meal plans. I hope you get started on your meal plan right away tonight after this meeting. Uh-oh. Okay, we have running buddies. Some of our running buddies are too fast. Understandable. Yes, we will, after the class, we will share the presentation with you all, and we will also share the recipe for this breakfast so that you can make it as well. Walking with daughter, I love that. Running with everyone, yes, for sure. I love that. I'm very excited for you all and hope you have an amazing run. I hope you all fuel up very well and take everything we talked about for our nutrition for tonight for preparing for a marathon also just translates into everyday life. You may not need to eat as much, but everything we spoke about eating is very good for you to eat on a daily basis, irregardless of if you are running a marathon or not. Let me know if you have any more questions.
Chef Victoria, I have a question. Not sure if you've answered this yet. How far in advance can we prepare the overnight oats, and how long should we keep them refrigerated?
Yes, so you can prepare the overnight oats. Personally, I go up to 3 days in advance. It's really going to be based on your personal taste preference, however, but I think 3 days is pretty good. And then I think you asked how long can they stay out the refrigerator. We talked about 2 hours if you take them and leave out in the morning. That also depends on how hot it is outside and in the environment, so you have to kind of gauge it. And then even better if you can keep it like in your lunchbox with a little ice pack, then it will last a lot longer. Thank you for those questions.
Absolutely. I mean, creating overnight oats is a great meal prep for the week. So I wanted to know if I do it on Sunday, can I have them Monday through Friday? Because I like a good warm breakfast on the weekend. I definitely don't want oatmeal. I want pancakes, some vegan bacon and sausage and potatoes, all of those things. So I just thank you for answering that question for me, Chef.
Of course. Yes, I love meal prep. Whenever I meal prep overnight oats, I make a couple, grab it, run out the door. Very tasty. You can also run it out the door and heat it when you get to work if you like it, heat it.
Sounds like everyone must be eating their dinner, Chef.
I hope they are. Dinner time. And I hope
would
you're
like to
eating
know, for the
something
people that have
healthy.
taken your class before, are they continuing on their plant-based journey, at least one option per week?
I'm not sure if anyone, is anyone here that has taken one of our classes? Let us know in the chat. I'm not sure if there is anyone.
I see one of your star students that answered immediately,
Really?
right?
I missed
Diane.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hi.
And they are continuing. That is great to hear. That is
Lovely.
awesome to hear. So, Chef, out of some of the recipes that you may have taught in the past, any of those recipes that you would recommend, say, after the marathon for dinner or lunch?
All of them?
Of course, but any single one that you think will be a good power source to go to?
Literally, I'm not being funny. Every recipe I give you, besides the dessert, of course, would be an excellent choice to eat at any time during your marathon training or after. But let's say a nice, like, hearty, healthy option, maybe the lentil stew. Also, like the tofu scramble with some whole grain toast on the side and avocado would be great. And any of those recipes would also be really good during your training as well. So happy to see people who've taken the class before. Where can we take your classes? So currently our classes are not open to the public. However, we are going to share some information with you all when we send out the presentation and the recipe, where you can join our mailing list so that when we do open a class to the public, we can share that information with you and then you can join. Right now, all of our classes are through different government agencies and corporations through through your employer. If you are a employee of the City of Newport News, I believe you can take our classes, some in Suffolk County and some in Arlington County as well. But if not, join our mailing list. I have plans to do a class for everyone, and we'll send you that information as well. I'm so glad you love the vegan tuna. That makes me very happy.
You know, I think I'm going to do that this Saturday and make me some vegan tuna wraps, Vernice. I think that's what I'm going to do. I may even try a jicama wrap.
Love it.
I am looking forward to, I love the vegan tuna myself, with crackers and a wrap and a sandwich. Oh, with some lettuce and tomato and red onion and some vegan Gouda cheese. I love it. Well, Chef, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time, but if we don't have a lot of questions left, I'd like to come back on camera and share some final details with the group.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight, listening to all the nutrition information and doing the recipe demo as well. I hope you all can create it at home and enjoy it. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night. I will turn it back over to you, Ms. Alston.
Thank you so much, Chef. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just trying to get myself back up here so everyone can actually see me. So as Chef Victoria mentioned earlier, we are actually going to send out a survey to all of the participants. In the survey, we like to receive your comments, what you thought about the presentation, You didn't have an opportunity to taste the rolled overnight oats, but I encourage you that after you make it, go back and tell us what you thought. In addition to that, we will be sending out the presentation, and I'm going to send you a link where you can stay in touch. When staying in touch, the chef sends out recipes. I mean, things like crab cakes, vegan crab cakes, vegan sweet potato pie. There's ways to do this. Vegan lasagna, some Asian inspired dishes, Caribbean inspired dishes, wholesome dishes, meals that you create for your family on a to-go, nice protein, energy balls, which I'm surprised the chef didn't do for you all tonight, but maybe she'll allow me to throw that in as a treat. But if you follow her, if she does any one-off cooking classes, you'll be the first to hear about it. So once again, I want to encourage you all to go to the marathon, participate, follow Chef Victoria. It's so great to see some of our participants back. It's been a pleasure being here tonight. I want to thank the City of Newport News again. Don't forget all of the things that they told you were going to be available to you on Marathon Day. For those of you that's going to grab your oranges and your clementines, don't let it weigh your pockets down there. It might slow you down. But you know the water stations will be located every 2 miles. Do not forget, every 2 miles, the Hummer gel will be provided at station number 4, and Gatorade will be at every other water station, beginning with station number 2. So thank you all for your time tonight. Don't forget, we will stay in touch with you by sending out the information. And all we ask is that you stay in touch with us. And we're going to close out the way that we started, with a little smooth jazz, hoping that everyone will have an amazing evening with your families. So take care, everyone. Enjoy your night. And thank you, Chef Victoria, once again for an amazing evening. And we hope to see you all soon in one capacity or another, either through Newport News, maybe Suffolk, or on your own. Take care and good night, everyone. And good luck. Bye-bye.